And this is the way the law was designed. It's going to fail because the design doesn't work. And that's what we've been saying now for years leading up to this point. We've been accused of simply being against whatever the president's for, but in fact what we pointed to over and over again for years is how this law was not just destined to fail, but destined to hurt people. And now it's happening, and he doesn't want anyone to say, "I told you so." That's what this is about.
Youth enrollment is vital to the success of Obamacare. But the young and healthy just aren't lining up to pay exorbitant premiums on plans they probably won't use just to offset the cost for sicker consumers. In fact, only 24% of the 2.2 million people who've signed up for Obamacare were between 18 and 35, far below the 38% needed to make healthcare reform a success. If the young and healthy fail to sign up before the March deadline, insurers will have to raise prices next year. But what if people still fail to sign up for Obamacare next year, especially at a higher rate? Will the Affordable Care Act implode? Will insurers throw their hands in the air in defeat? Not likely, considering that over the next decade, more than $1 trillion is expected to funnel from American taxpayers through Washington to health insurance companies.
Another issue that has come up, and it has to do with something that was in this bill all along. You talk about the pain that the American people are feeling in some aspects with all of this, but the insurance companies long ago locked in a deal for themselves that if it became too onerous for them to pay to cover all these people, that there was going to be some kickback, so to speak, that the government would sort of give them a subsidy of their own to make sure that they could cover their costs.
We will see a massive transfer of wealth occur in this classically fascist arrangement. You know, fascism, where a few elites and the biggest corporations collaborate with the government to bring everybody else down. But insurers also aren't concerned with low enrollment numbers because of the Risk Corridor program. It's built into Obamacare, and it limits the overall losses for insurers. In fact, American taxpayers are on the hook for 78% of any losses accrued by managed healthcare. So just like the bankster bailout, where we gave trillions of dollars to the criminals who tanked our economy, taxpayers may now have to bail out the health insurance agency if and when the law fails.
We don't need any more bailouts in this country, and particularly on Obamacare. If it needs to be bailed out in order to make it work, then it tells you why it should be repealed.
We told you, the Affordable Care Act was written by the insurance companies for the insurance companies. Conservatives and Tea Party Republicans agree that Obamacare will fail, and some insist Obamacare has a built-in failure mechanism that will give rise to a coordinated lefty push for single payer, a system in which the government, instead of private insurers, pays for all health care costs.
Well, let me tell you, if you think Obamacare is a mess, just wait till you see single payer. I mean, at least there's still some private companies involved here trying to inject some common sense now and then. If the government becomes the only payer, what you're going to have is just basically a massive government-run program that will have all the problems that massive government always brings with it: fraud, mismanagement, waste, lack of responsiveness. So if that's his plan, boy, I think they've got some surprises coming. I don't think that's anything the American people would ever come close to supporting.
Considering that about 80% of all Obamacare enrollees have already received federal assistance to defray the cost of coverage, those subsidies which are paid for by the taxpayer, and now taxpayers are also on the hook to cover any losses for insurers, well, it seems we've already morphed into a single-payer system. And that single payer is you.
Yeah, because I think you already see it in the body language. They're very nervous. They see the law's not working. They're starting to get the emails and the phone calls because it's starting to impact people. You know, up to this point, Obamacare was a theory. It was some law that passed that one day was going to start impacting people. Now it is actually impacting people. It is costing them their existing insurance. It is raising their premiums. It is creating disruptions in the economy, and people are responding to that.